You think your dreams are random noise, but they're strategy, your unconscious running night drills to keep you sane. Ignore that logic, and you drift into psychological quicksand, mood swings, distorted judgments, stalled decisions. Here's what most people miss. Dreams aren't instructions, they're information. In the next few minutes, you'll learn why the brain tells stories at night, what those stories actually do, and how to decode them without superstition. There's a secret step that makes interpretation 10 times clearer, coming up in the next section. Once you see the function, the symbols stop looking mystical and start looking mechanical. Let's go straight in. Jung's claim was blunt. Suppress the unconscious by day, pay interest at night. That interest shows up as dreams. They restore balance, the homeostasis of meaning, by surfacing what your waking persona refuses to process. When you over-identify with a role, the shadow corrects you in the dark, not to shame you, to complete you. Here's the frame. Dreams are a regulator. They compensate and complete. Jung called the resulting synthesis the transcendent function, a dialogue between your conscious stance and the counterposition in the unconscious that produces a third option you couldn't see. It's psychological engineering, not mysticism. What's happening under the hood is simple to state and huge in impact. Emotionally tagged material, affect-toned complexes, wants integration. The psyche uses narrative rehearsal to move that material toward resolution. So the brain storyboards. It casts characters, builds conflict, and runs you through simulations where your current identity is pressure-tested without real-world fallout. Think of it like a flight simulator for your values. You can crash safely and learn. The fear sequence pressures your avoidance. The desire sequence exposes your denial. The conflict sequence tests your strategy. You wake with a residue of feeling because that's the trail marker back to what needs attention. Here's what makes this so useful. Dreams also repair prediction errors. When your beliefs don't match your lived data, the psyche flags the mismatch with bizarre scenes. The strangeness is a highlighter. You think you're confident, but you're naked in a hallway. You say you don't care, but you're sprinting to a missed exam. The absurdity is efficient. It bypasses your defenses. Now the symbol economy. The psyche compresses complex, layered data into images, efficient, multi-meaning containers. A house isn't a house, it's your psychological structure. School isn't school, it's development pressure. Travel isn't travel, it's transition. The image is a zip file. Your job is to unzip it with your context, not a universal dictionary. Let me ground it. A recurring missed exam dream rarely predicts disaster. It signals competence anxiety plus avoidance. You sense a standard you're not meeting, self-imposed or real, and your current strategy is to look away. The dream intensifies until you turn toward the task, not prophecy, integration pressure. The thing most people miss, dreams aren't instructions, they're information, directional, not dictatorial. A nightmare doesn't mean quit your job, it means your current stance toward this job is unsustainable. Big difference. You're being shown a vector, not a verdict. So how do you decode without superstition? Ask a better question. Instead of, what does this mean universally? Ask, what attitude does this challenge in me right now? That shifts you from symbolism tourism to psychological work. You move from trivia to transformation. Common mistakes derail this fast. Literalism, taking images at face value, flattens the message. Google symbol lookups steal your context and paste in folklore. Confirmation bias cherry picks what lets you keep your current posture. These three guarantee you'll feel entertained and remain unchanged. Here's the shortcut that slices through fog. Isolate the emotional peak. That spike, panic, shame, awe, relief, points to the active complex. Then map it to a current life tension using shadow mapping. Who or what are you judging hardest this week? The overlap reveals the real subject. A quick micro-story to make this actionable. Someone kept dreaming they couldn't find the classroom on exam day. They thought it meant, "I'm a fraud." Reframed, it meant, "I'm avoiding feedback that would tune my competence." They booked one review meeting. Anxiety dropped. The dream eased. That's the regulator doing its job once you cooperate. Why does this matter? Because without the regulator, you drift. You double down on a brittle persona and call it identity. You project shadow onto everyone else and call it insight. The dream system pulls you back toward wholeness. It's not subtle when you've been ignoring it. That intensity isn't punishment, it's urgency. If you remember nothing else, the dream's job is compensation. It's engineering a third way between your rigid stance and the buried counter-truth. Respect that function, and the symbols stop looking like riddles from a mystical gatekeeper. They look like diagnostic readouts from your own psyche. Once you accept the function, you need a method. Structure turns chaos into signal. There's a secret step that makes interpretation 10 times clearer, and it starts with one rule. Emotion first, context always. That's next. Interpretation without structure becomes projection. You end up reading your hopes and fears into the dream and calling it truth. Structure turns chaos into signal. So here's the scaffold that keeps you honest and makes your insights testable in real life. Start with context. What happened yesterday? What are you avoiding? What decision sits on your desk? Dreams answer questions you're actually living, not abstract puzzles. Write 3 bullets: event, avoidance, decision. That frames the problem space your psyche is working. Now characters. In dreams, people are often parts of you. Persona, your daytime mask. Shadow, disowned traits. And anima, animus, your inner opposite that humanizes you. Sometimes they're real people. How do you test it? Affect intensity. If the character's presence hits like a wave, shame, anger, awe, it's usually a part of you. If the emotion is more situational, it may reference the actual person. Don't guess. Compare both readings against this week's conflict and see which one changes behavior. Setting tells you where the psyche places the problem. Home signals self-structure. Work signals duty and competence. School signals development and standards. Travel signals transition and liminality. This isn't superstition. It's a quick map. Ask, where does this tension live when I'm awake? Plot tension is the pressure type. Pursuit, loss, exposure, failure, reunion. Name it. If you're being chased, what are you refusing to face? If you're losing items, what identity pieces feel at risk? Exposure points to fear of being seen beyond persona. Failure pressures your competence strategy. Reunion hints at recovering a split-off part. Resolution movement matters. Did you adapt, resist, or freeze? That's your current strategy mirrored. If you froze, your nervous system is overloaded. If you resisted reflexively, your stance is too rigid. If you adapted, you've got momentum. Build on it consciously. Here's the affect first rule, the secret step. Track the strongest emotion first. Don't hunt symbols until you've named the emotional peak. That peak reveals the active complex. Panic, shame, longing, relief. Put a single word at the top of the page. Then ask, where did I feel that in the last 72 hours? That link is your interpretation anchor. Next, the 1-degree shift. Don't vow to overhaul your life. Ask the dream for the smallest behavioral change it's nudging. 1 conversation, 1 boundary, 1 hour of focused work. Conscious choice beats heroic promises. Test it within 24 to 48 hours and watch the emotion shift. Now the transcendent move. Hold the clash of opposites without rushing to fix it. I want recognition and I fear exposure. Sit with both until a third option appears, like earn feedback privately first. That's the transcendent function in action, a synthesis that neither extreme could invent alone. Common traps will dilute your results. Oversharing dreams invites others' projections. Your signal gets noisy. Over-collecting dreams becomes an archive of avoidance. No action, no integration. Over-moralizing breeds shame loops. Dreams are corrective, not punitive. If you catch any of these, pause and return to affect first. 1-degree shift. Practice prompt. Pick one recurring image. Write 3 associations from your life only. No books, no internet. Test each against this week's conflict. Which association predicts a useful action? That's your working hypothesis. Checkpoint. If your interpretation doesn't lead to a concrete behavior change in 24 to 48 hours, it's entertainment, not integration. Tighten your context, find the stronger affect, or reduce the shift size. Micro story. A chase dream looked like existential dread. Reframed as I'm running from feedback, the person scheduled one tough review. Anxiety dropped, output improved, and the chase sequence faded. Signal confirmed. The game changer. Keep a 2-line log. Theme plus emotion. Exam chaos. Shame. Endless hallway. Frustration. In a month, patterns emerge without effort. You'll see your core tensions cycling, which means you can intervene earlier with less pain. Dreams are your nightly regulator. Story as surgery, compensating for daytime blind spots and pushing you toward integration. Keep a 2-line dream log for 30 days and apply the 1-degree shift within 48 hours. Comment your dominant dream emotion this week. I'll decode one pattern on the channel. Subscribe for Jung's field-tested frameworks.